lockdown begin. Raze back live again. Pop culture, entertainment, of course, the hot topics. Traveling somewhere in the tropics. Usually for Zerb, for smoke show panels, $1 million plays. We expanding the channel, they say opinions like assholes. Watch your mouth at all times, and don't mess up the cash flow, we live.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Raze back live again on this early Monday morning, Judgment Day for Diddy, guys. Hit that like button as you guys come in. Yes, East Coast early morning, which means it is time for the jurors to deliberate early this morning, about 9 o'clock or so, 9:30, more than likely. The judge is going to give the instructions to the jurors, and then they will start to deliberate and decide the future and the fate of Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy. Hit the like button as you guys come in, guys. Man, oh man. And what do you guys think is gonna happen? Guilty, not guilty, hung jury. What is going to happen? It has been about a 2-month trial, a month and a half trial. And we are here. We are here at the end right now. And I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be out there in the event there is a verdict later today, Monday. And it's going to be, I'm quite sure there's going to be plenty of media people out there. I did an interview with somebody that had the free Puff shirts on. So we're going to have people saying free Puff. We're going to have people saying Puff is guilty. It's going to be bedlam out there. Monday is going to be about 80 degrees, nice, sunny. So, man, but I give credit. I give lots of credit to the Diddy defense team, Mark Agnifilo, for that outstanding, brilliant closing argument. And I know, guys, you know, people was crying. Ooh, why? How dare Mark Agnifilo, victim shame and this and that. And guys, I told you the day that the prosecution made their closing arguments and people were saying, hey, the prosecutors brought it home. Great job. Diddy's team have no defense. I told you. I said, wait, let Diddy's defense team do their thing. They're going to come back and bring the fire, the heat, the smoke. And they did. And I predicted. I said, when I was standing in front of that courthouse, I said, people that want to see guilty, and they want to see Diddy guilty, they're going to be crying and moaning and complaining about Diddy's defense lawyer victim shaming and basically defending Diddy against the accusations from the prosecution. I was saying the day before Diddy's defense team went up there, I said everybody that's sad that want to see Diddy not guilty, and that they were saying he might be in trouble because the prosecution had a great closing argument. I said, wait a minute, hold on, don't feel no way. The prosecution didn't say anything I haven't heard already through the whole month and a half of this trial, and I still was saying that I think this is a far reach, this is a stretch. I think this is a RICO abuse, and I said let Diddy's defense team get a chance, and the attitudes will change. You're going to realize that Diddy's defense team is going to bring the heat, right? And they did. And as I predicted, everybody that want to see Diddy guilty, they big mad, big sad. They're saying that the lawyer Mark Agnifilo is misogynistic. How dare he do this? He must not have no kids. He should be ashamed of himself. I'm like, listen, he did his freaking job. He's getting paid well. Diddy's defense lawyer, his job was to seed doubt inside of those 12 jurors, not worry about people's feelings. He basically called Cassie and Jane 304s. Rightfully so. It is what it is. He had to do what he had to do. People were complaining, oh, he's mocking this case. He's mocking the federal government. How dare he do that? He's making a joke of it like it's nothing serious. I said, great strategy. Great strategy by Mark Agnifilo, because the federal government, the prosecution deserve to get mocked for even bringing this case as a federal case, federal racketeering case. They deserve to get mocked. They absolutely 100%. As I was watching this case in about the third week, and I kept seeing these alleged victims and witnesses going at stand, and I just kept hearing about sex and the messages about the sex and the payments of the sex, and I'm like, what kind of case is this? Why would the feds bring this to court? Like, what kind of racketeering RICO is this? Like, this is what we're doing now? And I would like, this case is trash. Why would the feds even bring this to court? Right? So they deserve to get mocked. They deserve to get laughed at. And Mark Anafilio, yeah, he deserved. I mean, I'm glad that he did like just laugh it off. Like, this is a joke. This is a joke. And I think the jury, now I'll be getting some reports that some people that was in the court building in the viewing room, and some people that was inside the actual courtroom, seen some of the jurors laughing with Mark Agnafilio as he was popping jokes and making jokes, and people was criticizing him for doing that. But I'm like, hey, they sat through a long, like 4-hour prosecution, statement the day before. It was robotic from all reports, and he decided to come with some flair, with some comedic value to keep the jurors awake, keep them engaged, and that was his job. And I believe he hit on all of the points. Now I'm going to play something. I'm going to play a video by the name of Lionel Legal, who explains why Diddy should be found not guilty on all the charges. Guys, hit that like button, guys. Let me see who's in this building. Hit that like button. Let me see. Shout out to Augie Ben Dougie, dude. This time, make sure your mic is working. Yeah, what it do? Auto Wheel is in the building. Raze, defense attorney. Hey, listen, I'm gonna play for you what a defense attorney said. Lionel Legal. You know what I'm saying? So we you don't gotta take my word for it. He pretty much said the same thing I said. And I'm not even a law guy at all. I'm not a law guy at all. But this guy Lionel Legal came through and on his channel, and he was talking about this should not have even been brung to court. And I've been saying this. I've been saying what he was saying over the past couple of weeks now. You know what I'm saying? And that Jane character, that's a joke. Trying to say that she's a victim. That receiving $10,000 a month, that's a joke. Diddy will be home on the 4th cooking hamburgers and franks for his kids. And once they go to bed, he and Jane will have a freak off. Rob, aka BK's finest. You love this stuff. You wanted this man to be free. It's just as disgusting as the Knicks hiring Dawn Staley to be their next coach. No, I think them hiring Dawn Staley might be even more disgusting. Hey, it's not that I want Diddy to be free. It's that I don't want a bad precedent being set. And I'm going to play for you Lionel Legal. This guy, he's pretty much going to be saying the same thing as I said. Like I kept telling you guys, if I was in a jury, I would find him not guilty. Hell no, I ain't finding this guy not guilty at all. Because I think this should have been state charges. I know probably the statute of limitation for the assault on Cassie was out, but hey, it is what it is. Listen, if this was an assault case, I would gladly find Diddy guilty. I've been saying that from the beginning. I can't find him guilty on RICO racketeering because this is not a criminal organization. It is a far stretch, and it sets a horrible precedent. I'm sorry, I can't find him guilty. They overcharged the man. It's the wrong charges. I can't do that. I'm setting a bad precedent just because he beat her up. I said that when the first day I went out there to the court. I said, look, this don't really seem like a federal RICO racketeering case, but I said, let me hear it out. And I said, will the jurors find him guilty anyway, even if they feel that this is not technically the classic RICO racketeering type case? Will they find him guilty because they are so disgusted by that Cassie beatdown video, right? They are humans. I've been saying that. I said that since the first day. And I said, if I was in a jury, I would be highly disgusted. I would wish that I can find him guilty on beating her up. At least, but as I'm really going through this case over the past month and a half, I'm like, you know what? I won't be able to bring myself finding him guilty on the sex trafficking because that's 15 years to life. Hell, if he was on trial for actually beating up Cassie, the minimum is not 15 years to life. If he was actually on a state trial for beating up Cassie, the minimum for beating up Cassie would not be 15 years, guys. He is facing a minimum of 15 years of life for sex trafficking. Meaning that they's trying to say he trafficked Jane and he trafficked Cassie. So, you know, I can't go there. You know what I'm saying? Well, you're gonna find out tomorrow, Rob, aka BK's. You say I should be embarrassed. No, the government should be embarrassed for bringing up such silly charges, bro. Now we all don't like the fact that he beat up Cassie, but these were consenting adults, Rob. These are grown folks. These are grown folks. He didn't, no minors, no underage, and I think people are not really admitting that they were gaslit about all of the underage stuff. The Judge Justin Bieber, the Usher when they were kids. That never happened. Because surely they would have brought that to trial. They would have, subpoenaed people that was underage or said they were drugged. They didn't. They didn't charge him with that. So Rob, what's so embarrassing? Why, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to set a bad precedent. Obviously, you should be embarrassed by the federal government. They should have brought upon the proper charges so he can get a proper conviction and he can get a proper sentence. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? Nah, hell no. Y'all ain't trying to play me out like I'm a sucker like that. If I was on that jury, you ain't gonna play me out like I'm a sucker. Mark Agnifilio said, look, he told the jury in closing, this is your courtroom. This is your decision, nobody else's decision. And he got a standing ovation. A standing ovation in one of those monitoring rooms. They opened up 4 rooms. He got a standing ovation. Yeah, nah. You know, his assault on Cassie already reached the statute of limitations. The only possible RICO charge is the $20,000 extortion, which he gave back. And the problem with that, Auto Will, also is that he didn't tell Cassie's mom that about the video. Cassie sent the mother a message saying, hey, he's going to release my video. He's mad about me being with Kid Cudi. He wants the money back that he spent on her career, on her studio time and all that stuff. So she told her mother that. Diddy never told the mother that he was going to release Cassie video. Now it's up to you. It's up to those jurors to believe Cassie. Do they believe Cassie, or was she just trying to ask her mother for the $20,000? Did she add the fact that Diddy said he was going to release it? Did he actually ever tell her that? Now, I can believe that he probably did tell her that. He was mad, jealous. You know what I'm saying? He probably said, I'm going to release your tape if you don't pay the $20,000. But there's actually no real evidence. This is all circumstantial stuff, guys. Y'all about to put somebody in the jail for 15 to 20 years on circumstantial stuff. 15 years to life, I mean. Yeah. Ooh, shout out to Drop or Not is in the building. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Overreach says Drop or Not. Yes. No, bro. Doesn't matter. It's about those 12 jurors. It's all about the 12 jurors. Just the Facts is in the building. What up, Just the Facts? The judge clearly instructed the jury that what Agnifilio did was improper and that they should disregard his instructions. Agnifilio was acknowledged by the judge and was threatened with contempt. Yeah, but after that, they still was smiling and happy as hell with Agnifilio's closing statements. Yeah, they did that early. I seen it. I mean, I heard it. They did that. The judge did that early, but Diddy's defense lawyer, he kept going. And after that acknowledgement by the judge, the jury didn't care. The jury was still happy with Diddy's defense from all reports. The people that was in there, they was smiling, they was laughing, they was digging what the defense attorney Mark Agnifilio was saying. That's all that matters. And I've been saying that these are normal 12 people, 12 human beings. 12 human beings. I'm telling you, they are not going to. My prediction. I'm gonna get to my prediction in a minute. And by the way, Dan Steady can coach better than some of them NBA coaches. Oh, you talk about Dawn? You talk about no, the female? Oh, hell no. You know that, hell no. The Knicks are clowns. The Knicks are clowns if they hire that lady from South Carolina. They are clowns. That's college basketball first, and it's women's college basketball. Her success is because she gets all of the best players. She recruits all of the best players, and it's not a lot of great female basketball players in the country anyway. There's some decent ones. There's good ones. There's some great ones, but it's not a lot. If you get in all of them, you're going to win every single season anyway. No, she has not coached one time. She even wasn't an assistant coach in the NBA. You know, it's a whole different world. Cut it out. They should have just kept Coach Tom Thibodeau. You know what I'm saying? They should have just kept Coach Tom Thibodeau. I don't want Diddy to be free for his benefit. I want him to be free to uphold the integrity of the law. Yes, bingo. And I'm going to play for you this Lionel guy, Lionel Legal, and tell you what he said. And I want you to subscribe to his channel. Jazzy P. Jones is in the building. How you doing, Jazzy P. Jones? How you doing, Jazzy P. Jones? By invoking domestic violence, the defense is acknowledging patterns of abuse, intimidation, and physical control elements that meet the legal threshold for coercion, amateur hour. No, bro, it's not amateur hour, bro. Everybody's seen the violence. People seen the violence on people seen the violence already. Just the facts. I know you want him to be guilty. Just the facts. I know you cool with me, but I know you want him to be guilty. Everybody's seen the video. So the defense said, all right, let's get out in front of it. Let's acknowledge that he is an abuser, right? He is an abuser. There's nothing, you can't hide for that. He can't hide from that. So listen, defense attorney Mark Agnafilio completed his closing argument saying the government failed to prove any allegation of the racketeering charge filed against Sean Diddy Combs, okay? Agnafilo said the defense made no attempt to dispute allegations that Combs battered then girlfriend Cassie Ventura. We own the domestic violence. I hope you guys know that. He said he said in his beginning of his closing statements, despite acknowledging the physical abuse, Diddy's lawyer described the relationship between Combs and Cassie as a great modern love story. Okay, so he actually even said, look, if he was on trial for abuse, he would have just pled guilty. But unfortunately, he is not on trial for abuse. So he had to acknowledge it. And let me play something right quick now that you said that, because this is not Lionel. This is not the Lionel. This is other guy, which some people you might know, Dr. Phil. And he was like, look, acknowledge the stuff that you are not charged for. So admit to the stuff that you're not charged with, right? Which he did. He admitted to the domestic violence, and it makes sense. And deny the stuff that you are charged with, which is RICO, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. Okay, right? So it was a smart play.
Yeah, they're going to argue negligence. They're going to argue some negligence, not necessarily legally, but they're going to say, hey, these women knew what they were signing up for, and there were good things and bad things that could come out of that. They knew that, and they took the risk knowingly. I think this is going to be an interesting case, and I think the defense has to be very careful to not push too hard on excusing behavior. Sometimes a modified mea culpa can go a long way towards buying credibility on some of the actionable charges. And by modified mea culpa, I mean saying, look, that wasn't his finest hour. He didn't behave well here. But how does that go to what he's charged with? Because there are RICO charges here, but yet he's the only one charged. So where are the other parties?
Where's the enterprise?
Yeah, who is he enterprising with if he's the only one charged?
Yeah.
It just seems this is going to be very interesting to see how this is proved up. And what are the instructions going to be from the judge, and what are the definitions going to be on the charges? People sometimes forget they don't go back and say guilty or innocent. As you know, they go back there and there are a lot of definitions they have to go through. Did they prove this element, this element, this element? If yes, then go here. If no, go to page 14. I mean, it's a very complex situation, as you know.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard one for the jury, and I agree with you. Trying to do that sort of modified mea culpa, which is what the defense is trying to do. They're literally trying to walk that fine line, saying, "Oh, yes, he did domestic violence, but he didn't do these charges." That's a hard one with the jury. You have to be very careful with that.
It is, but if he can admit to things that he's not charged with, he can buy credibility when he denies things he is charged with. Mm-hmm. And that's a subtlety sometimes the jury doesn't pick up on. Well,
do you have it right there? And they did exactly that. They admitted to the domestic violence, which was brilliant to do because you can't deny the domestic violence. He'd have been looking like an idiot to deny the domestic violence. So he admitted to the domestic violence. And like they said, that you just heard it, admit to what you're not charged with. He's not charged with domestic violence. And the lawyer said, look, it's not about domestic violence. So we're going to take that. We take that L. But, you know, we didn't do sex trafficking. So it is what it is. And just the facts. I don't know what else y'all wanted the defense to do. What other, besides like taking a tank to the courthouse and shooting out the doors of the court and belling, and breaking Diddy out of the court. You know what I mean? What else was the defense going to do? You know what I'm saying? What other defense could they have done besides just try to say, look, this was all consensual. These were consenting adults, no underage people. This is not a federal RICO racketeering. Bad Boy Records is a legit company. All of Diddy's companies is a legit company. They are not criminal organizations. This is not, he used John Gotti. He used Sammy DeBoer Gavano in his examples. He had the jurors laughing at that. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. And I think people that really want to see Diddy guilty, they are in crazy denial. They are in crazy denial. I was out there at the court and I seen people that came out of that courthouse said that this guy had the jurors in his hand. They were digging what this guy was saying. And that's all Diddy can ask for at this moment. You know, I mean, I don't know what else, you know, what y'all wanted his defense team to do, which really the people that want to see him guilty, y'all would never give his defense any credit anyway, because y'all just want to see him guilty. So really, I take what y'all say with a grain of salt. Let me see. Sometimes the authorities like to make it look like they're fighting, but they really aren't. They overcharge or they don't properly explain the charges. That way, it looks like they tried but failed. Yes, Tyler, hit that like button, guys. You got to subscribe to the channel. We will be live from the Diddy trial tomorrow in case there is a verdict. Jennifer Coloni says, baby oil. Yes, they definitely overcharged. This was a joke of a absolute joke of overcharging by the feds, and nobody in their right mind should want Diddy to be found guilty of the RICO racketeering because it sets a horrible precedent. You know what I'm saying? They need to just find them not guilty in all the charges. And I don't mind you charge them state-wise. If you can find a way to charge them with for assault and whatever else, you could, arson for the state. Go ahead, be my guest. I don't care if he's found guilty of that, but I do not want to see this go through. Hit that like button, says Jazzy P. Jones. Hit that like button. A drunk driver killed 2 people and only got 6 years. Yeah. So we trying to give Diddy 15 years to life just because they say coerced. He convinced girls to have sex with him. He convinced girls to have threesomes. So that's coercion. They wanted to be with the man. The man that's P. Diddy. They wanted to be around all them people. Usher, Bieber. They wanted to be around all that. It is what it is. They made the decision. They have some regrets. It's fine. They can have regrets. Everybody have regrets on what they do in life. It is what it is. He paid Jane $150,000 for 3 years. You know what happened. He had to pay up Cassie $20 million. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but not sorry. It is what it is. Sleeping outside the courthouse. No, I'm not. Nah. I'm not. Zed, I'm not outside the courthouse. Nah, I'm not outside the courthouse. Nope. I am not outside the courthouse. In Mac, yes, I know they sent it back in Mac, and the thing is, can you prove that the $20,000 was given to him because he was going to release the tape. Cassie said that he wanted $20,000 because he was jealous that she was dealing with Kid Cudi, right? And that he wanted the money back for her studio time in her career. She added the part about he was going to release the tape to her mother. He never told her mother about him releasing the tape for bribery, bro. So this is still circumstantial evidence. She has zero evidence that if she had it in chat in the text messages that Diddy was going to release her video, then yes. But if Diddy lawyer said if Diddy just saying, look, you cheated on me with Kid Cudi, I paid all this money for your career, I want my $20,000 back. Yeah, personally, I probably believe that he would tell Cassie that, but there's no evidence. There's no evidence with a lot of this stuff in Mac. And then he sent the $20,000 back anyway. So it's like, so did she just send it because? I mean, there's no proof. That's the thing. These people are coming to court, and some of these witnesses are highly suspect, getting dates wrong, getting what are we doing here? This is a silly, ridiculous case. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I mean, I know y'all want him guilty, but this is a silly case. This is a ridiculous case. Yeah, I seen the scoping article you sent me all the way. I get to that like sometime in the middle of the day tomorrow if I can get away from this Diddy thing. Diddy guilty, death sentence, lethal baby oil injection. Oh man, yeah. Like I said, Mark Agnifilo was cooking, man. He was cooking, man. I mean, you know, boy, he's like, yo, I've never seen somebody get prosecuted on personal pornography. He's getting a RICO charge for him doing and liking his personal pornography. You know what I'm saying? He's like, look, they found all those baby oils and Astroglide. The streets are safer now because all those bottles of baby oil and Astroglide is off the streets. And the jurors was laughing. Great masterful job. I know y'all are mad. Y'all know y'all are big mad, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Federal courts have consistently rejected attempts to minimize sex trafficking to domestic violence when the elements of coercion, commercial sex act control. Yeah, they could try all they want. It's about those 12 jurors. Listen, they tried. Listen, I give the prosecutors credit for copy and pasting and putting together a bogus federal racketeering case. I give them credit. They was. I'm gonna clap. I give them. They came up with a bogus, nonsensical, garbage racketeering case. Garbage. Absolute trash. Right? But I give them credit. They're the government. They can do whatever they want, right? And I have to give this Mark Agnifilo guy credit. The strategy they took was less is more. They did not. First of all, they have to prove that Bad Boy Records is a criminal enterprise to begin with to even say this is a conspiracy and racketeering. They have not proved that. There's no way. There's no way. This is crazy. And for people that wanted to see him be guilty of this, I don't understand y'all. Why? This sets a horrible precedent. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Diddy is a good guy at all. But charge people properly. Stop this BS. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here. It don't matter. She can't coach better than some of the. This is like saying somebody that coaches like the PSAL or PAL league in basketball won 5 championships, the accolades, and you think that coach coaching the NBA? No. Dawn Staley is not ready to coach the New York Knicks to a championship. They need to hire back Coach Tibbs. Bring back Tibbs, Bean. Trial could go either way. It's not technical. Yes. And when he was first arrested, everybody was like, oh, Diddy is done. Diddy is done. I'm like, I thought so too. I was believing the hype. But now after watching the case, this is not a slam dunk. This is not a slam dunk by any stretch of imagination. No way in hell. Ajima's World, salute to Ajima's World. Free. I don't believe they're going to get 12 jurors to find him guilty on all 5 of those charges. Sex trafficking, there's just no way. Because it had to be unanimous. It had to be 12. And it's not going to be 12 for an acquittal either. I'm thinking we're going to have some of those charges, especially the sex trafficking, as a hung jury. They might get them all 12 on the Mann Act, but in the Mann Act, you can get up to 10 years on the Mann Act, all time served. But it's like, I don't think they're gonna get I don't think they're gonna get 12 jurors to say guilty on or not guilty. So I think we're gonna have some hung jury type drama tomorrow at the courtroom. Well, later on today at the court. Free Puffy, salute. Shout out to the fake Nico. North Memphis says he's guilty. He's guilty of which one? Which charges? You talk about all charges, all 5? I don't want Diddy to be guilty either. I'm just looking at the case with an objective, informed mindset. Above all, I pray he received a fair trial. Justice should be based on truth, not emotion. This is not, but just the facts. I'm telling you, this should not be a racketeering case, bro. This is a straight up reach. This is crazy that this was even allowed to be brought forth. You know what I mean? I'm being honest. Shout out to DJ Pantro was in the building. Salute to you. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Anybody new to the channel? This is Judgment Day for Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs. Darlene says guilty. I believe it was 30 million, dude. Well, it was 20 million she got by, and that's what Diddy's lawyer was saying. Look, Cassie is the real winner here. She got 30 million. But she got 20 million from Diddy, the lawsuit, and she got 10 million from the hotel that she got beat up in. But I know 99% he's not getting out. See, what does a victory look like and what does a loss look like, Zeb Bates? That's the thing. Like, if he's found not guilty, now I don't think he's going to get found not guilty because you need 12. You need 12 to say not guilty. And I don't think he's going to be found guilty because you need 12 to say guilty too. I suspect hung juries, right, for some of the charges. The biggest charges, RICO, racketeering, conspiracy, because there was no conspiracy with his employees to commit acts of criminal acts. Those are just employees. So booking hotels, purchase some drugs for his minor, his personal use, whatever. It wasn't a conspiracy. It was just a guy that was a head of Bad Boy Records, and he did some criminal stuff, him personally. You know what I'm saying? This is not the mafia. So if he's convicted of the Mann Act, if all 12 say he's guilty to the Mann Act for just prostitution, which carries a sentence of up to 10 years, what did the judges say time served? Or what did the judge say 2 years with time served, so you get another year, some probation? Is that a victory? What would a victory look like? Because this is not like the OJ where it was just one charge, basically just, do you find him guilty of killing the 2 people, right? Nicole, and this is like 5 different charges. So what would suffice as a victory, a win for Diddy? So that's the confusion part. Like, what does winning look like? I guess not getting 15 years to life, I guess, right? The defense job is not to distort the truth. Their role is to challenge the prosecution case, predict the defendant's rights, and present legally arguments sound, not fabrication. If it goes both ways, if the prosecution, which they did, they brought in somebody, this Brianna girl claimed that she was dangled over the balcony of 17th floor, that Diddy did that. But she had the dates wrong, and they were saying she conspired with Cassie, right? Cassie said it happened in the hotel, and Brianna said it didn't happen in the hotel. They had the dates wrong. The metadata on the phone had it. Diddy wasn't even in LA when it happened, when she said it happened on the photo that she sold. So if she got that wrong, so it goes both ways. So was she fabricating? Was the prosecution fabricating? Was the prosecutor's witnesses fabricating? So it goes both ways. So if they're allowed to do it, why shouldn't the defense be allowed to do it? If the judge say stop, then stop. You know what I'm saying? The judge ain't say nothing about, the Brianna getting her dates wrong. You know what I'm saying? The jury got to hear that. The jury got to hear her saying Diddy dangle her over the balcony. And Diddy's defense team just called her a liar to her face in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So people want the prosecutors and the feds to be able to do everything, bring in all these non-credible witnesses, these crackhead witnesses, these grown adults that participated in the stuff. They want the feds to be able to do all of that And some of those witnesses are highly not credible. But once the defense start, going a little bit probably over the line, but their defense trying to defend their client. Oh, it's bad. It should not be happening. Nah, bro. Nope. We're not playing that game. Not over here. Not that game. We ain't playing that game over here. Now, let's listen to Lionel Legal. It has to be. They're gonna give the instructions to in the morning. You know what I'm saying? But it's got to be unanimous. You know what I'm saying? All 12 had to find for guilt on each case or not guilt, or it's gonna be a hung jury. Yeah, I suspect some hung jury charges, hung jury on some of the charges. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. All right. Now let's see this guy named Lionel Legal. Subscribe to this guy's channel. I'm gonna drop his channel link so you guys can subscribe to his channel. This is a guy by the name of Lionel Legal, right? And he made some great points. Let's listen to what Lionel Legal had to say.
I recognize the fact that what I'm saying is incredibly redundant, and I know you've heard me for the millionth time, and I'm going to say it for the millionth time because I think it's important and critical that everybody understands what this is. There is no way that if there exists any kind of a law, any kind of criminal justice system, that Diddy should be found guilty of anything. And this may confound you, it may bother you, crazy, because he's not guilty of what they charged him with in federal court. You don't throw these terms around. You don't say things like trafficking and racketeering in violation of the Mann Act and the white slavery statute because a couple of people were involved in what appeared to be basically a big house party and orgy run amok. If you go through this, if you go through the facts of this, that's what's important. And that's what I've been talking and saying. The idea of a racketeering conspiracy is ridiculous. This was no enterprise. This was not the mafia. This was not the Colombos or the Lucchese's. This was a celebrity entourage, a group, a posse. Notice I spelled it P-O-S-S-E. There is no relatedness. There was no enterprise. There is the relatedness component of this, where you can say that the alleged acts and the drugs and the sex and the money and all of that stuff were isolated incidents, not a part of a coordinated plan. And second of all, there's no continuity. No relatedness, no continuity. The incidents were episodic, chaotic, abusive to be sure, but not organized.
Excellent point by Lionel Legal. Subscribe to his channel. His channel is up there right there, Lionel Legal. And I got some other statements from Lionel Legal I'm going to play. I'm just going to analyze it one by one. Lionel Legal, he is saying what I've been saying for the past 2 weeks and I'm no legal expert. He's a lawyer saying this. And me, I have zero legal knowledge of stuff. I'm just Googling stuff and trying to, watching Law and Order. And I was saying the same thing. How is this a criminal organization? How is this RICO racketeering? How? Like I said, congratulations on the feds and the prosecution for actually copy and pasting and making this a thing and even getting this far on it. I think the judge should have just drew this out long ago, to be honest with you. Now I know the judge is only a second year thing, he wasn't gonna a second year judge, but he wasn't gonna never throw it out. But this is ridiculous. How is this allowed to go this far? But it's in the hands of the jurors now. So Diddy's going to stay in jail where he belongs, Heather Black said. You don't like what Lionel Legal was saying just now? If Diddy is guilty of sex trafficking, so is the pornography industry. Yes. OnlyFans. I mean, you open up a Pandora's box with this. Now, Diddy's lawyer said, look, Diddy hired escorts and entertainers from a legit escort company. So if he's guilty of sex trafficking and hiring those people, even just for the Mann Act, that means that company has to be guilty then, right? Because that means they mean those people, the Punisher and them people that work for that company. I forgot the name of the company, Birds of Glory, something like that. How are they not being prosecuted for selling off prostitutes? It seemed like they would be more guilty of pimping out people to Diddy. Diddy was what they call it, a trick. Diddy was the customer. So you're going to give the customer more time than the person that actually sold you the damn prostitutes to begin with. Make it make sense. Drove this damn case out. In with the drugs. So the person that do drugs, like Diddy, he does drugs. He's a drug addict. He's going to get more time for drug trafficking than the person who sold him the damn drugs. Oh, have y'all lost y'all damn minds? Yeah, I think we all have lost our minds because we allowing this to happen. Hopefully those 12 jurors don't go through with them. This is crazy. This is crazy. Free Diddy. Ben Vlogs live TV. No, that don't mean that. Yo, Ben Vlog, you got a whole new thing and everything. That company don't have anything. You talk about the company that sold him the prostitutes or for the entertainers? Oh man, what up, Ajima's World? Salute to you. All his money's going to his lawyers. Well, yeah, I mean, they high-priced lawyers. I mean, it is what it is. We'll see tomorrow, you know what I mean, or later on today. What's up? Now, let's see what else Lionel Legal says. Subscribe to Lionel Legal's channel, guys.
Chaotic, abusive to be sure, but not organized, not systemic. No one was employed in a criminal network. Friends and girlfriends and staff all voluntarily were present in the orbit, the gravitational pull of fame and excess. And that's the way that is. Simple. Simple. A house party, an orgy, isn't a racketeering enterprise. And to suggest that this was sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion is an abomination to the people who have been, in fact, actually involved in that. I would be furious if I was a practitioner. I would be furious. Consent, intent, whatever you want to call it. These were adult relationships at best. Messy, toxic, even manipulative, but they were not, were not trafficking. Agency and participation is another one. Agency as in being an agent. The victims, the putative victims remained in relationships. They took money and accepted gifts and traveled by choice. No commercial sex arrangement, forced or brokered, was there. It was intimate. It wasn't transactional. It was in the legal sense. Force, fraud, coercion. This is the thing. Did they ever call the police? Were there threats or just power imbalances? Intimidation versus a threat. Did people feel like they couldn't say no based upon the power differential?
Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe to Lionel Legal channel. He is making the points I've been making over the past couple of weeks after seeing, going deeper into this case. The feds were out of their mind bringing this case to federal court, but we are here. They're about to set a big time legal precedent. All of these OnlyFans, and if this goes through, that means they're gonna have to go at the OnlyFans models and people that's flying out having sex, right? They're gonna have to go after those people that the Punisher worked for, right? I mean, they have to, right? Well, shout out to Where's Milano was in the building. Salute to you, Where's Milano. He paid my boy Punisher under the table. Yeah, and but Punisher testified, Ben, that he was not a prostitute, though. So if they go, if that's illegal, if that's such a big deal, and that's worth 15 years of life for trafficking, that means Punisher need to go to jail. the company Punisher worked with need to be dismantled for running a sex trafficking company. Like, they're about to open up Pandora's box just to bring down Diddy. And it won't be fair to have him go to jail for all of this when everybody else is doing that. You know what I'm saying? These are grown folks, no underage minors, no there was no druggings, reportedly in this case. This is not R. Kelly. This I've even gaslit. Yeah. Let me see. Once again, Heather Black, they admitted to the domestic violence. He said he was going to get his phone back. They even slowed down the camera to witness. Once he got his phone back, he let it go. Heather Black. It is what it is. Heather Black. It was past the statute of limitations. And even if he was on trial for domestic violence of Cassie for that video, he still would not be facing 15 years of life for the domestic violence. It seemed like to me the Fed seen that Cassie video, domestic violence video, and just said, well, we can't get him on that because of the statute of limitations. Let's look into all this. Let's look into some other stuff. Let's see. Can we get him on taxes? Well, no. Bad Boy Records, they pay their taxes. They're not tax cheats. What can we get him on? Let's start looking. Maybe he coerced these girls. Like, this is so lame and weak. Maybe he's running a RICO racketeering thing. What? Where's the other arrests? This is a one-man RICO. I keep hearing about Christina Karam and this and that. I don't. Where is she? Where's her handcuffs? Why was she put in prison and not given bail? Or even if you want to give her bail, why wasn't she arrested if she is a co-conspirator? But people don't want to hear this because it doesn't fit their narrative that they were fed for the whole year. For the whole year, we heard underage minors involved. We heard this, we heard that he did this and did that. And it was just like a avalanche of lawsuits and civil suits. We didn't hear a peep from any of those Tony Busby clients. We were all gaslit. And people, some of YouTubers that started out saying Diddy is done, they got too deep. They got too deep, interviewing certain people, celebrities that were adamant about Diddy being guilty of these things and this and that. And they can't bring themselves to be unbiased and neutral on it. They were on the side of Diddy guilty, and no matter what they hear inside the court, even though they know they smart, they know that this is not a federal RICO racketeering. This should not be, or there's some doubt of, there's some doubt, but they refuse to come off of their biasness because they trashed Diddy for a whole year. So, and it made them good money too. So they're going to stay on that side. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Not over here. Not on this channel. Hit that like button. Says Fake Miko. Salute. He's guilty, says Christine Gracie. We shall find out. We shall find out. There's no minors here. Consenting adults here. People should be free. Rose right. Hit that like button. Surviving Fat Joe, says the Genius World. In the Fat Joe situation, that's just a lawsuit also too. I've learned my lesson with this one, the Genius World. I learned my lesson not to judge people off of civil suits because people are trying to get paid. People are in distress. People need money these days, man. And everybody's trying to get a bag, man. I'm not saying the guy that's suing Fat Joe is lying, I'm just saying I'm waiting to see him. And even if he gets like some hit with some RICO racketeering, I'm still going to wait and see because I thought that Diddy was done when he was first. They said RICO racketeering. I'm like, uh-oh. He must, and they said they found drugs inside his house. I'm like, uh-oh, they must have found kilos of cocaine or something like that. But no, I was wrong. I was gaslit. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Let's see what else Lionel Legal got to say.
Threat. Did people feel like they couldn't say no based upon the power differential? Did the prosecution prove intent to exploit? There was seduction, to be sure, but not sex trafficking. This is what is critical. And as far as transportation for prostitution, the white slavery statute, the Mann Act violation. Again, act or definition. No one was trafficked across state lines for prostitution. There was a private relationship, not a pimping. This wasn't assignation and all these other great common law crimes. You have to look at the definition of prostitution. Was sex offered for money, or was it part of a consensual, romantic, celebrity lifestyle? No. This is the most important thing in the world. Did the alleged victims, did they choose to travel for parties and events and relationships? Were they told to perform for pay? The prosecution has got to prove that Diddy intended to have someone cross state lines for illegal sex work. Period. End of discussion. And proving that beyond a reasonable doubt and beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt within a degree of moral certainty is very tough to say the least. They travel for this is a defense spectacle. I have no earthly idea what motivated the Biden administration to involve themselves in this. I have no earthly idea whatever motivated them in the least to even pursue this. What were they thinking? What was the purpose of this? What? No one knows. No one can figure this thing out. Nobody can. I can't. I'm wondering why. What was the purpose of this? Why did you do this? What were you trying to accomplish? Why?
Why? Oh, why? Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel, guys. That was Lionel Legal. I got another clip to play for you from him. That guy. He making sense. Like this case makes zero sense. And I realized this like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, you know what? I gave it a chance. I was looking for the smoking gun. I was looking for the what I really cared about, which was the minors underage. But really, looking at the charges, he was never charged like that. He was never charged with any minors or underage or drugging people. So really, but still, I would have thought they probably would have brought somebody in to try to make their case even look even better. But I mean, because all of this other stuff is just grown folks. And you talk about just the facts said the forcing a coercion. Cry me a river about that. These are grown folks, man. Jane left and went back. She didn't have to get on a plane to go do that stuff with Diddy for 3 years. Coercion my ass. You know, she didn't have to keep going to that plane back and forth. It wasn't like she was locked in a cage. You know what I'm saying? She made a grown folk a grown folk decision to fly out continually. Yeah, Diddy would say, oh, you know, it's just going to be me and you. But then he has somebody else there. Fool me once, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. She was constantly fooled for 3 years like a dumb idiot. That's on her. And she wasn't fooled because she wanted the money. And she could have kept doing OnlyFans and make $50,000 a month, like she said. So she did not need his 10 grand to pay. See, y'all don't look at that testimony. She said, 1 month she made $50,000 doing OnlyFans. So if that's the case, that means she did not need Diddy's money to continue to pay her mortgage. She could have just did OnlyFans, which she's doing now. Rumors that she's doing OnlyFans now, very successful at it. So she didn't have to continue being with Diddy to collect 10 grand. She could have did the OnlyFans and continued to collect her $4,000 a month child support she was getting by, a certain celebrity. She is a high price 304. Same with Cassie. Sorry, not sorry. It is what it is. You know, the government does not belong in people's bedrooms like this. You know what I'm saying? It's overreach. And if they wanted to go inside the bedrooms, get them on assault, get them on assault, get them on whatever state charges. This is not RICO racketeering. My biggest issue is that this is RICO racketeering. I do not see Bad Boy as a criminal enterprise. That's my biggest concern. I don't mind them trying to state charges or getting them on assault, whatever, if they have proof and if they have DNA, whatever they have, and send them to jail forever. I don't care. My issue is the racketeering, RICO, trafficking nonsense with grown folks. And like this guy Lionel Legal was saying, it's an insult to people of that as that's really being sex trafficked. The underage minors being sex trafficked, being bought across the border, being in other countries. You know what I mean? Getting kidnapped, getting put in the backseat of trunks, getting placed in cellars and basements and forced to do heinous acts. You know, beyond a real. Even adults, some adults, yeah, adults, you could be trafficked if you're adult too. If you are kidnapped, if you're threatened, if you're being pimped. Now the company that Diddy actually ordered these escorts from, they are more the pimps than Diddy. So why aren't you charging them? Diddy is the customer, even with the drugs. He is the customer. He is the addict. He is the sex addict. He is the customer of the drugs. So if he goes down, all these escort services have to go down. That's what I'm saying. This is setting a horrible precedent. It is ridiculous. I'm not even a legal expert. I'm just using my common sense. Let's see what else Lionel had to say.
Why? What was the purpose of this? Why did you do this? What were you trying to accomplish? Why? What was the point? We don't know. This happens all the time. This was Hugh Hefner, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. This has been going on. They do football games, and you know, I've asked this question. There's about like 2,000 to 3,000 maybe total professional athletes in baseball, football, basketball in the United States, and of that group, of those folks, of that team, of that group, there are probably more independent groups negotiating parties and passels and hordes and orgies of women that you can imagine all the time. It's been going on since day one, and that's not right. It's immoral, fine, but it's not federal, and it's not. And if there is a God, he must be acquitted, because we cannot live in a system that would allow somebody to be, in essence, violated, to be, what am I trying to say, to be charged with this, to be prosecuted, merely because we don't like his sexual activities. Federal trafficking, think children, think people padlocked in trailers and tractor trailers and brought and transported and flown, and oh my God. He must be acquitted. If that jury is even 10% efficient, they've got to throw this out. And if by some stretch of the imagination he's found guilty of this, then they'll get him on appeal. They'll reverse it on appeal. This is horrible.
Subscribe to that guy, Lionel Legal's channel. I dropped this channel link. I'm going to drop it again. Great job by that guy. I'm going to be looking at some more of his videos, his insights. So shout out to him. Man, he just laid it down perfectly. It sets a bad precedent. See, he's more concerned about the precedent also. I'm concerned about the precedent. The escort company was Cowboys for Angels. Yes, Cowboys for Angels. Because North Memphis says, what company, bro? Yeah, Cowboys for Angels was the company. So why isn't the feds, if this is such a huge deal, why aren't the feds now raiding Cowboys for Angels and taking all of their assets and locking up whoever works there and getting them on RICO for sex trafficking and drug trafficking, not drug trafficking, but sex trafficking, violating the Mann Act, pimping out their escorts? Riddle me that. If it's that big of a deal, like I said, I speak common sense over here. Riddle me that. You see, we talk about legality, and I'm no legal expert. And just the facts, if the feds would have arrested the owners of Cowboys for Angels, if they would have arrested the prostitutes, the escorts, the entertainers, and they all would have been underneath this federal RICO racketeering, then it'll be way more believable. Then I can go ahead and be like, all right, I still don't see that as a crime, because these are all grown folks. As long as they ain't have no underage people at the Cowboys for Angels, whatever, I would still say, but it'll look more believable, because at least you're not targeting one guy. Do you like? Am I on planet Mars? Do I sound unreasonable here? If the feds would have raided Cowboys for Angels and arrested the Punisher and arrested all of those prostitutes, all those escorts, right? Not prostitutes, but escorts, entertainers. At least it would have looked. It would have made it look a little better instead of just targeting Diddy. It would have made it look a little better. All right, this is a Federal RICO racketeering. I guess the government, they really trying to crack down on this stuff for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? I can see it a little more if that was the case. That is not the case. That's not what's going on here, guys. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. This is a one-man RICO. I don't care about, they talk about Christina Corral. I have not seen her in handcuffs. So this is a one-man RICO as far as I'm concerned. And the government, they're going to keep using this if they get away with this, if they get away with getting a conviction. Now, I don't agree with Lionel Legal as far as, I don't mind him being found not guilty, but I don't think he's going to be found not guilty because you got to get, I don't think he's going to be acquitted. I think it's going to be a hung jury on most of the charges because you got to get 12 people to say not guilty. That's going to be hard. I mean, it is what it is, even though I don't agree with the feds actually bringing his charges as a RICO racketeering, but it is what it is. Nothing you could do to change it. I don't think all 12 jurors is going to say, oh, yeah, this is not RICO racketeering and say not guilty of racketeering conspiracy. I don't believe so. I believe you're going to get some, 3 or 4 probably say not guilty, and it's going to be a hung jury on the RICO racketeering. I believe there's going to be a hung jury on the sex trafficking, meaning you're not going to get all to agree that it's guilty or not guilty. Now, the Mann Act, as for the prostitution, woo, I think that's the easiest one to get them on because it's basic. But that's the sentence of up to 10 years. If all 12 jurors, if it's going to be a charge that all 12 jurors find guilty on, it's going to be the Mann Act, the 2 counts of the Mann Act, right? With the people from the company Cowboys for Angels, right? They're engaging in prostitution, not the sex trafficking, because I don't think you're gonna get all 12 to agree. So those are gonna be hung juries. I'm not even sure if you could get them on all 12 to agree on a Mann Act. They're gonna be deliberating and going back and forth. Obviously, they got to know the sentencing guidelines by now. They know the sentencing guidelines. They know what Diddy is facing with each of those charges. It's not going to be up to them to sentence. It's going to be the judge to sentence. But man, I suspect hung juries, guys. He not guilty of the Mann Act either. Yeah, do I see 12 of those jurors all saying guilty of any of these charges? I can see 1. I can see 3. After that masterful defense, I can see 3 because I can see 3 of those jurors on each of these charges saying not guilty, and just hanging the jury. Like, we can't make a decision. Find another jury and retry him or something like that. To be honest with you, now I'm not going to say he's going to get acquitted because you're not going to find all 12 to say. That'll be surprising if all 12 says not guilty. That'll be highly, because you're getting 12 different people, 12 different backgrounds, 12 different personalities, 12 different histories of relationships they were in. You know what I'm saying? Some probably bias for the prosecution, some probably bias against the prosecution. Some people, like, some of them probably want to go by the letter of the law, by the code, that's written on the books. Oh, that means guilty. But really, it doesn't really mean that, because really you got to find that you gotta decide if Bad Boy Records is a criminal organization for these charges to even come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? So why am I finding him guilty of racketeering when I don't even believe that Bad Boy Records is a criminal organization anyway? So that means all of these charges are null and void. It should not have been in a federal racketeering case. And that's what Lionel Legal was saying, basically. Tisa tells make this a RICO. So does Ticket TV as well. He is having a super emotional breakdown, saying he's guilty, sick of them, says Jay White. Now, like I said, a lot of those guys and gals made a lot of money, right? And they're going to stick to what they do. They're making a lot of money, sticking with what they do. You know what I'm saying? I see Tisa tells she's on Nancy Grace now. So shout out to her. You only have like 1 or 2 times you know, to really hit big in life, you know what I'm saying, at that level to make this amount of money. And it's like, well, you know what? God bless them. Neither one of them have anything to do with the jurors. Neither one of Tisa Tells or Ticket TV. Neither one of them is on the jurors. So really, they just giving their opinion. It is what it is. They making good money, so God bless them. You know what I'm saying? You know, but you don't got to worry about them because they have zero influence on the jury. Unless the jurors are sitting back watching Ticket TV and Tisa Tells every night, which, you know what I'm saying? I mean, oh, man. It's all about those jury guys. So what's the term? Oh, my God. Just the facts. This jury pool, you are giving just the facts, man. You are going deep. Like, this is 12 jurors. Those 12 jurors is not. All right, just the facts. I get it. If you was in a jury, you would find them guilty, right? You would find them guilty. This is fine. Not everybody thinks like you, just the facts. Not everybody is thinking all technical and this and that. And not everybody is actually rooting for Diddy to be guilty. So people that's not rooting for him to be guilty could find ways and find legal reasons for him not to be guilty. Just like if people that want him to be guilty, y'all can find legal twists and turns for him to be guilty. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can force it, like the feds force this. The defense, you know, they force, you know, whatever they force. You know, Mark, you know, Mark was doing his thing, you know, but you know, he people say he went overboard. I understand what people were saying about him going overboard, but Mark gives no F's. His job is to put doubt inside those 12 jurors. This is not moral police. So why should Mark care about people saying, oh, he's misogynistic? How dare he say those things about alleged victims? You know, it is what it is. So what? So what? That's his job. He should not care about people's feelings. His job is to do his job and put seed doubt inside those 12 jurors and get his client off. That's what he does. Mark Agnafilio shouldn't care about how his own kids feel. You know what I mean? How his sisters feel if he have a sister. You know, how any woman in his life feel about him defending somebody like Diddy. He's not supposed to do that. He's supposed to defend his client. That's what defense people do. You can have a mass murderer out there, and if he gets paid to defend a mass murderer, he's gonna have to put out the best defense for that mass murderer. It is what it is. F people feelings. If these defense lawyers cared about people's feelings, Diddy would definitely be getting locked up for 15 years to life because they would not have the courage to say those things, to basically call Jane a 304, to call Cassie a 304. He's like, look, if they're lying on the stand, well, they don't deserve to get respected. They're trying to get my client, Diddy, buried in prison 15 years to life. To hell with the people's feelings. And like I said, the court, one of the viewing rooms gave him a standing ovation once he said, you got to let Diddy go home. The jurors are smiling. The jurors were happy, just the facts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's nothing I can do. It seemed like he won over the jury, just the facts. I mean, all we can go by is by the people that was inside the courtroom. Even Tisa Tells herself said that the jury, people in the party, like 3 or 4 of them, were laughing and smiling as Mark Agnafilio was making his case. It is what it is. I mean, you know, what am I supposed to do? I mean, you know, it is what it is. It's brilliant. It is what it is, man. It's in the hands of the 12 jurors. No matter what I say, nobody can predict it. Not even the judge can predict what those 12 jurors is going to do. I'm just telling you what I would do if I was in the jury. Just the facts. You're saying what you would do is if you was on a jury, which is great, which is fine. I'm telling you, I would say not guilty on all the charges because I don't want to set the precedent. That'd be my right to do. And I would go on interviews. I would get paid for my interviews and say why. And just the fact you would say guilty on all the accounts for whatever reasons you think legally, which is fine. And but we are not on a jury. I mean, I don't know. All I can go by is what I've been seeing in people that tell me when I go down to the courthouse. And if there is a verdict today, I will be at the courthouse. We're going to be on verdict watch today. There's a chance that there will be a verdict today, maybe tomorrow, who knows? I would think they would try to get the verdict in before July 4th, 4th of July. Who knows? It could be 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, a day, 2 days. But I'm going to be monitoring it. It'll be on the verdict watch. So when we get word that there will be a verdict, I will run down to the court and I'll go live and cover it. And like I said, I don't believe he's going to get acquitted because it's just 12 jurors, and I just can't see all of them saying not guilty on the big charges. I can see 1 or 2, so I can see a hung jury. I'm looking at hung juries, guys. Hung juries. Diddy abuse escort service. Oh man, no, well, yeah, he's no proof of that. I'm not even gonna put that on the screen. No proof of that. We can't defend Diddy. Are there any other black people in trouble? I can defend Diddy if I feel that the case is overcharged. Because if we allow this to go through, we all get hit with some nonsense like this. It sets a horrible precedent. That's all I'm saying. If I was in a jury, if I was on the case of his domestic violence, sure, I'll find him guilty of that. But, you know, it is what it is. You know? How many times have the escorts said they are only there to dance and for companionship, sex is not allowed? Well, arrest them all then. Just the facts? Well, you know, if you really want me to believe that this is a racketeering, say that Diddy conspired with that Angels company, with the escort company then. Say that Bad Boy Records conspired with all of these sex workers then. For me to actually believe this and for it to be credible, just the facts. Or else I'm just going to say y'all are targeting this guy. Y'all are targeting Diddy. Y'all are this is no other way to look at it. Because if that means if sex is not allowed, then the people that all of the people that was involved in the sex should be arrested, including Cassie. Matter of fact, I forgot about Cassie. Oh, Mrs. Innocent Cassie threatening to kill somebody because he said that he seen her on a freak off tape. So this is the person that y'all expect me to believe is so innocent and so weak and could not stand up for herself to Mr. Big P. Diddy.
So you're telling me that he showed you a video of who kidnapped Cassie? Then that's not a real video because he's never
in that position. You would have been naked. I'm just saying if you.
So he's in the video.
I'm saying if I had a picture.
Is he in the video?
Yeah, but I'm saying if I had a picture.
Then that's not me.
But I'm just saying, look, hold on. You have to understand. If I had a picture of you naked.
If there's a picture of me naked, that's completely different than a video of me.
So
the video that he showed you, he's in it.
Yeah, we can try to pull it.
How are you gonna? Oh no, your phones are right here.
Try to pull it. You can try to pull it. You can try to pull it.
On the internet?
Yeah, you can try to pull it.
Where?
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, which phone?
You can bring
the Samsung?
Yeah, you can bring it.
So you have it or you don't have it? Can you just be clear with me? Do you have it?
I saw it and I don't want to ever see it again.
I know you don't, but I want to see it.
Yeah, but I don't want to see it. Bro.
Yeah, you don't have to see it, but it's my life and I'll kill you.
Yeah, but
I will kill you if you don't show me right now. I will kill you and I will hide you and I will cut you up and put you in the dirt right now. Pull it up. If you have it, pull that up. Because if not, I'm going to kill you and then he's going to kill you again. So just do it. Pull that up right now.
Boom goes the dynamite. If Diddy was on audio making those threats, guys, those same type of threats, I wouldn't even been able to defend that. Like, who is the ringleader here? Why isn't Cassie in handcuffs? That's threats. That's showing that maybe she was a part of this. If they, all right, you know what? Matter of fact, and Diddy's defense team played that. The prosecution didn't play it. Maybe if the prosecutors use Cassie, if the prosecutor, you know what the funny thing is, as I'm not no legal expert, if the prosecution was the people was the one players, they could have used this as evidence as a racketeering. They could have said, "Well, Bad Boy Records is a criminal organization." Cassie, she's a head of the organization. She's threatening to kill people. She's partners in crime with Diddy. If the prosecution wanted to release that, but the prosecutors didn't want to release it because it would have killed the narrative of her being all weak and can't defend herself. So the defense played it to show that she was not weak, she was not intimidated, and she would get down. She's gangster. Holy hell, what a mess! What a mess! Like I said, this is all grown folk stuff, man. I wouldn't even bother myself with this. I don't know why the feds even bother with this. I'm with legal mindset here. I mean the legal Lionel legal here. There's some people out there in the court rating right now. Yeah, they're trying to get in. They want to get in for a possible verdict. You know what I'm saying? He guilty though, according to the law. No, he's not the real deal because the law says RICO racketeering, right? In order for him to be guilty of RICO racketeering, you had to prove a conspiracy, right? You would have to prove that Bad Boy Records is in itself a criminal organization, which I do not agree with. That Bad Boy Records is a criminal. There's no way. Bad Boy Records is not a criminal organization. It's so the law and the charges should be null and void. That's what I'm saying. They should have thrown this out. That's what the judge should have took upon himself to throw it out, but he didn't. So here we are. So no, he's not guilty according to the law. And like I said, technically, according to the law, we all guilty of jaywalking. We all are guilty of jaywalking, so we all should be arrested or fined for jaywalking, right? What's the penalty for jaywalking? Then they got Tupac for jaywalking, right? He said this is some BS, right? So basically, technically, according to the law, the real deal, if we really doing that, we are all criminals. Every single one of us in life, we are criminals for jaywalking. Y'all want to play that game? Why did they bring this case? Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnefidio, asked them. He asked the jury. He said, "Why would they bring this case to the federal, courts?" And then they got all mad. The prosecutors got all pissy and mad. They went crying to the judge, and the judge agreed. Oh, it's not your job to ask the jury why this case was brought forward. Why isn't it for the jury to understand? Why shouldn't the jury answer that question or have a doubt of why this case is brought forward? You trying to put a guy in jail for 15 years to life. Why shouldn't the jury wonder about, why would they bring this case? It's just human. We are humans. That jury pool is not slaves. That's why I'm glad Mark Agnefidio told him at the end. He said, "Look, this is you guys' courtroom. You guys 12 jurors. This is your decision. This is not the prosecution decision." They probably could sense the biasness of the judge. This is not the judge's decision. This is you guys 12 jurors. This is your decision. And your decision only to find Diddy not guilty, send this man home, and he got a standing ovation inside one of those rooms. Like it or not, people that want to see Diddy guilty, cry some more. Because I'm telling you, I don't believe he's going to be found guilty because you need 12 people to say guilty. You're not going to get 12 people to say guilty. You're going to have hung juries on most of these charges. You're going to have hung juries on most of these charges. You might hit one. You might get 12 to say guilty on one of the charges of the Mann Act just to say they found her guilty of something. But the big charges, no way. No way. Cry me a river. I mean, it is what it is. charge the man properly. I will be on board if you find a way, a loophole to get him on assault. If you can prove he sexual assaulted Cassie somehow, instead of just her word. If you can find some DNA evidence, some video evidence, something. You gotta. Judge Judy even say you can't come to court without no evidence. And not liking a guy is not evidence. You can't come to court without evidence. And you damn sure you can't come to court getting your evidence wrong. You can't have your dates wrong. You can't have your photos wrong. Brianna with the dangling over the balcony. What are we doing here? I've been asked this. I've asked this 2 weeks ago. I'm no legal expert, but it's scary to think that people are saying give them life, give them this and that, when there's hardly no real evidence. There's no. This is all circumstantial. This is all witness. And some of these witnesses are crackheads. Let's be honest. And some of them got lawsuits against them, so they got money to make, life-changing money. Come on, what are we doing here? Tisa tells is very disappointing, but she's getting her money. Sell your soul for an inch. Yeah, well, that's the thing. And to be honest with you, you only get very few times in life to make money and make a good money and make a good. That's this. And shout out to her, man. You know, God bless her. She has. She's not part of the jury, so it's not like, you know what I'm saying. The jury is the ones making the decision. God bless her. I just won't watch her. If you feel that she's that biased, I just don't watch her. But like I said, people that's suing Diddy, that testified inside this courtroom, they have money to make, and this probably be their one time to get that money. They're gonna try. And really, guys, these people is given immunity. A lot of these people testifying against Diddy, so of course they're gonna say things that's favorable for the prosecution, so they won't get charged with a crime, right? So that's not fair. If well, the drug mule Paul, a lot of these witnesses, even Jane kept saying she loved Diddy. He's like, you know, and Paul, but like he's no drug mule, so they kind of helped Diddy anyway. And but the thing is, people want a Diddy team to bring up a witness. Thing is, Diddy's defense team, if they would have brought up a witness, they would have got immunity. So they would have went up there and pissed off the prosecution, pissed off this government. Guess what? They would have been opening up themselves for prosecution in the future. Because they wasn't going to be granted immunity for their testimony. The only people that was able to get granted immunity was the prosecution, the feds. So why would anybody go testify and risk getting brung up on charges? Y'all got to look at this stuff, man. That's not fair. Yo, the feds don't play fair. The feds don't play fair. That's why I'm like, what did y'all expect Diddy's team to really do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, y'all expect them to just drive up to the courthouse and with a tank and blast Diddy out and make an escape? They did the best. They're going to get a machine right now. They did the best they could. You know what I'm saying? And I think they did a fine job. And I just think anybody that's not biased can see that this is an overreach by the government, and it shouldn't go down like this. But it is what it is. We'll see what the 12 jurors say. Like I said, once again, I'm saying I don't think he's going to get acquitted because you need 12 people anonymously to acquit. That's not going to happen. I expect a bunch of hung jury type situations. Free Diddy, we not handing him over to the Europeans, says Kim Padmore. He didn't drug any girls. There was nobody said that he put drugs inside their drinks. He offered them drugs and they took it. Grown folks. This is grown folks stuff. This is grown folks, guys. You know, he had some person who used drugs and he offered them peer pressure. You can say peer pressure. They took the drugs. I mean, it is what it is. It's people having, these are grown folks, guys. These are grown folks partying. Like, well, I don't like, y'all are bugging. I know you don't like the guy. I wouldn't hang out with Diddy. I don't like him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not like wishing 15 years of life just because you don't like a guy. Is madness. Because of his swinger lifestyle is madness, guys. Come on, guys, cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out, guys. Diddy, when he gets out, he's going to sue the state for even putting him through this whole soap opera of celebrity, a personal business. He paid this girl her money, and she wanted fat. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, grown folks. Sometimes when you with a girl, sometimes she's in the mood to do something. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're in the mood to do something. Sometimes she's not. And there takes some back and forth, some convincing between the two. And sometimes you get what you want, sometimes you don't. It is what it is. That's not coercion. That's relationships. Now, their relationship was more freakish, so it's kind of like different. It's millionaire type stuff. It's a lot of money. It's tricking. It's swinging. That's their lifestyle. Those are grown folks consenting. Diddy don't care about none of y'all. He been tied to the white boys. He is in bed with them. What does that have to do with anything, bro? I'm talking about precedents. This sets a bad precedent for the USA. You can get hit with a RICO then. If you own a business, you get some person to use drugs, you probably have an employee buy you some person to use drugs, they could drop the atomic bomb like a RICO racketeering charge on you. Do you want to set that precedent? Can't they charge you for drug possession or something? Cut it out. Yeah, cut it out, man. Cut it out. Y'all are bugging. Y'all are bugging. And I pray none of you guys get hit with these type of charges. Because y'all not gonna have the money like Diddy to hire dream team lawyers like this to get y'all off or get y'all like, you know, a minimum sentence, like a lesser sentence. Yo, it's Soldier One. What up? Salute. Hit that like button. Yvonne Curry is in the building. Diddy is only guilty of giving Biggie. Well, no, not gonna do that. Laughing means nothing. You can't laugh and still convict. Oh yeah, of course, Kai. But I'm just letting you get. I'm just giving you the atmosphere of what the jurors were. You know how they were behaving and how they were responding. Kai, Nicole. I mean, all I could do is give you what we seeing and you know what was being reported. You know, Kai. You know, that don't mean necessarily they're gonna find them find them guilty or not guilty. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows. Not even the judge himself knows. You know, Judge Sumeridian don't even know. You know what I mean? So now, what the prosecution do have going for them is that the jury is an older bunch. You know what I mean? They got one of the younger jurors from the Bronx. They got rid of him. I think he was in his 40s. Everybody else is basically in their 50s and 60s and 70s. Would lead you to believe maybe a more conservative jury. You know, that really wasn't really into Diddy and the Bad Boy crew in the 90s and stuff like that. But, you know, we'll find out. We'll find out. They like Gerardo Rivera, Teaser Tells and Ticket, Fox News, OJ. Yeah, like I said, it is what it is, you know, with that, you know what I mean? They making a lot of money, so it is what it, you know. When people making a lot of money like that, to be honest with you, I mean, I think they could have kept it more balanced and still made money. But remember, Tisa Tells is on Nancy Grace. And Nancy Grace she despises Diddy. So, you know, it is what it is. They making their money. I mean, it is what it is. And to be honest with you, I would never tell people not to make their money, because like, just to be, just don't make your money just to be fair and balanced. It's like, who am I to tell? They got mortgages, they got houses to pay. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know what? I ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? I would like to think I would be unbiased and fair in that situation. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? Who knows? Maybe if I was making $15,000, $20,000 a month, saying Diddy is done and lock up Diddy. Diddy had an awful day, this and that. And if I thought that was the only way to continue making that $20,000 a month from YouTube, maybe I would continue. Even if I felt the way I feel now, $20,000 a month is like, do I continue to just feed this to my base and just be like, hey, Diddy guilty, he guilty. No, forget about the defense. The defense sucked. Guilty. So I can make my $20,000 a month. Who knows? I'm not in that situation, so right now I can be unbiased because I ain't making that money like they making. I just tell the truth over here right now, guys. Right now, until I start making $20,000 a month. And then I'm like, Diddy guilty, lock him up forever. Where's my check? God damn it. I'm just being real over here, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But shout out to you, Biggs. Guilty 5 years, my prediction. Like I said, I mean, if you get some years, you get some time. It's not 15 years of life type stuff, though. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you were to tell me this was the case about sex assault, right? In assault, and you add the sex assault, and that's in the charges, and if they had evidence that he did that, then yeah, give him life. I don't care. But that's not the charges. That's all I'm saying, guys. Like, y'all gotta take a step back and be rational here. You know what I'm saying? Unless y'all talk about like y'all trying to make up, this is makeup, this is revenge, this is makeup charges. But I'm like, they still haven't proved that he, like that stuff. You still got to come with evidence of that stuff too. Like y'all want to go to Me Too route, but it's like, you still got to have evidence if you want to. They will let him out. They have a deal with him. He doesn't mention the videos. They will get him on lesser charges. The prosecutor is the daughter of FBI. Will they do a plea deal tomorrow? Maybe they will surprise us and offer another plea deal. That's a possibility. Avoiding a just verdict to prevent setting a precedent reveals bias. I don't care. Well, yeah. Well, I'm biased. This is not a RICO racketeering trial. I don't care what they have on paper. See, you got too much faith in humans. I know humans are flawed, right? These laws are flawed. The Mann Act was made because a black man, Jack Johnson, was banging out white women back in the early 1900s, bro. And that's still on the books. That law is flawed. So I don't care. Call me biased, whatever you want. I'm saying not guilty. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. But these are human laws written by humans. And all of us are flawed. Humans are flawed. So that's not going to be, you're not going to guilt trip me with that. Not guilty. Hyper slab, when you're saying, imagine your daughter running into somebody, that has nothing to do with the case. It doesn't matter if I had a daughter and if she run into any crazy ninjas on the street, I would tell her, yo, don't be with that guy. But if she's grown and adult hyper slob, that's her own decision. That's her own personal decision. And if he beat her up, then I might have to unalive him. But then that'll be my own personal decision. That's different because that's family, right? You might unalive somebody for just cursing out your daughter, hyper slob. I'm going to jail if I do that. But when you do these type of comments like this, it doesn't play in the realm of reality because you talk about family now. Any little thing would set me off if you come at my family, right? So I might go overkill and do harm to you for just talking bad about a family member, a female family member of mine, right? So you had to remove yourself. You had to be unbiased. You had to remove yourself, right? And don't think of it as a family member. Cassie is not my family member. Yeah, if Cassie was my family member, I probably would have went to, really do some bodily harm to Diddy, right? A lot of you would have, right? But that doesn't have anything to do with the case. And if I did go do bodily harm to Diddy for beating up my daughter, right? If that was my daughter in that video, guess what? I'm going to jail. Because the law going to say I'm not supposed to take the law in my own hands, right? They said, let the law work. Let the law work. Well, then I'll go to the judge, like, well, get him on assault. But guess what? They would tell me the statute of limitations ran out. Y'all talk about the letter of the law, right? So, it doesn't matter about my daughter or anybody. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. Once you grown folks got to make grown folk decisions. I'm thinking he will catch a 15-year. See, now if he catches a 15-year, the only way he could catch a 15-year is if all 12 jury members find him guilty of either the sex trafficking or the conspiracy, which I don't think that's going to happen. Now, you might get all 12 to find him guilty of the Mann Act. That carries a sentence of up to 10 years. The sex trafficking is a minimum of 15 years. So if you really wanted to get 15 years and the judge would have no choice but to sentence him to 15 years, he would have to be found guilty by all 12 jurors on trafficking Jane and Cassie, because that's what that is. Those are the two counts, trafficking Jane and Cassie. Can they get all 12 jurors to say guilty on that? That's going to be tough. But if they come back guilty on that, yeah, he's automatically going to get 15 years. So we'll see. It's going to be high drama. Yeah, but like I said, they saying that they just victims. So they're saying that they've just victims. So, the cool guy, whether he guilty or not, still got to pay bill. Yeah, still, you're right. Same thing with OJ. You know what I'm saying? But everybody, the nation was glued to the OJ case. We still had to pay bills with that too. So we just have as a conversation. It's a fun conversation. I like going back and forth with you guys. We all got opinions. Just the facts got his opinions. Like just the facts will be if just the facts with the foreman, he'd be trying to get everybody to say, you idiot, you idiots, you guys better find guilty. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out, man. You know what I mean? And the problem I have with these alleged victims, they all went back. They all went back. They all testified that they went back to him, either in a relationship or they went back to work after leaving a job. So how trapped were they? Once you leave and then you go crawling back to him to get your job back. So that's my biggest issue with these alleged victims. And the thing is, a lot of these people just testifying because the feds wanted to force this case. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to think about these people testifying. They didn't want to testify against Diddy. They were forced to by the feds. Subpoenaed, given immunity. The feds scared them, make them think they did something wrong, like they could get prosecuted. So of course they're going to be trying to make it seem like Diddy is this mean guy and this and that, because they don't want to get prosecuted by the feds. You got to look at it, and the jury have to look at it that way too. Those are the jury, those are the feds' witnesses. You think coercion? So what about the coercion? About the feds coercion? That's coercion to me. That's coercion. The feds sending out subpoenas to people, threatening to file charges against them if they don't testify for the feds. That's coercion. That's coercion. That's striking fear inside those witnesses so they could go in a stand and destroy Diddy. That's coercion. Y'all talk about coercion? The feds be doing coercion all the time to get a verdict. With their witnesses they call. Threatening their witnesses. Hinting at the witnesses. Look, you better play ball with us. We'll give you immunity, but you better play ball. Go on the stand. Say what we want. You know what we want. We want Diddy. Isn't that coercion? Isn't that coercion? Isn't that scaring the hell out of witnesses? So you can get a result that you want. You could get a testimony that you want in favor in front of those 12 jurors. Diddy's defense team, they don't have that. No defense team have that, right? Because they won't get immunity. And they won't have the threat of prosecution hovering over their head. You know what I'm saying? Or they will have no, you know what? The defense would have the threat of prosecution hovering over their head. Especially if they were to put an employee up there from Bad Boy Records like they had planned. That person could have got hit with a charge. And he wouldn't have had immunity because he would have been testifying for the defense. How fair is that? That's what I'm saying. The system is rigged against people, and people are cheering for this. I'm no legal expert. I got common sense. You guys are actually cheering for this. Diddy not guilty? Hit that like button. What's the fake news? Well, we'll see tomorrow. We'll see. Well, later on today. What's the? I don't understand the fake news. The jury will be deliberating after like 9:30, 10 o'clock. The judge is gonna read the instructions to the jury. They will start the deliberations today. The lies she be telling. Young Black Wall Street is in the building. Tisa Tells be telling tales, says Eddie Kane. Lovely Lynn. Shout out to everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, guys. Anybody new to the channel, we will be down at the courthouse later on. Especially if we get word, I will run down there. I ain't gonna be down. I was gonna go down there very early, but I'm like, you know what? What's the point of me sitting out there in that hot sun? You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be wasting my battery and stuff, and like I'm gonna be out there for no reason. Waiting for a verdict that might not even come. But normally they give the media a heads up. So I would have some time to get out there. If they say it's about to be a verdict announced, I'll run out there real quick. Or I might just go out there anyway, but I ain't gonna be out there like very early when they first start deliberating because they're gonna need some hours to deliberate if they do come back with a verdict. So I ain't gonna be out there like that early in the morning. I'd rather have Mom Donnie deported than Diddy locked up. Not guilty, free Diddy, says Too Cute. Jimmy Henchman equal prison. Jimmy Henchman, Dirk equal prison. Let me see. Jack Sparrow. Like I said, guys, I don't like the precedent that's being set. That's my main issue. Like I said, I don't mind if they come back and charge Diddy with state charges on assault. I'll root for that. I mean, I don't mind them charging them for assault. I don't mind them going to jail for assault or even as assault if you could prove it. Like that Me Too movement crap, you can't just come to court without no evidence, but that's what they be trying to do. So, but whatever. tried that separately, I'll be all for it. And it is what it is. Really, it doesn't matter what I say. It's about those 12 juries anyway. Those 12 jurors. it really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this guy's a legal guy.
I recognize the fact that what I'm saying is incredibly redundant. And I know you've heard me for the millionth time, and I'm going to say it for the millionth time because I think it's important and critical that everybody understands what this is. There is no way that if there exists any kind of a law, any kind of criminal justice system, that Diddy should be found guilty of anything. And this may confound you, it may bother you, crazy, because he's not guilty of what they charged him with in federal court. You don't throw these terms around. You don't say things like trafficking and racketeering in violation of the Mann Act and the white slavery statute because a couple of people were involved in what appeared to be basically a big house party and orgy run amok. If you go through this, if you go through the facts of this, that's what's important. And that's what I've been talking and saying. The idea of a racketeering conspiracy is ridiculous. This was no enterprise. This was not the mafia. This was not the Colombos or the Lucchese's. This was a celebrity entourage, a group, a posse. Notice I spelled it P-O-S-S-E. There is no relatedness. There was no enterprise. There is the relatedness component of this, where you can say that the alleged acts and the drugs and the sex and the money and all of that stuff were isolated incidents, not a part of a coordinated plan. And second of all, there's no continuity. No relatedness, no continuity. The incidents were episodic, chaotic, abusive to be sure, but not organized.
Lionel Legal, subscribe to his channel. I'm gonna drop his channel link again. Coming through with this is a legal mind, guys. You know, and I was saying pretty much
chaotic, abusive to be sure, but not organized, not systemic. No one was employed in a criminal network. Friends and girlfriends and staff all voluntarily were present in the orbit, the gravitational pull of fame and excess. And that's the way that is. Simple. Simple. A house party, an orgy, isn't a racketeering enterprise. And to suggest that this was sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion is an abomination to the people who have been, in fact, actually involved in that. I would be furious if I was a practitioner. I would be furious. Consent, intent, whatever you want to call it, these were adult relationships at best. Messy, toxic, even manipulative, but they were not, were not trafficking. Agency and participation is another one. Agency as in being an agent. The victims, the putative victims, remained in relationships. They took money and accepted gifts and traveled by choice. No commercial sex arrangement, forced or brokered, was there. It was intimate. It wasn't transactional. It was in the legal sense. Force, fraud, coercion. This is the thing. Did they ever call the police? Were there threats or just power imbalances? Intimidation versus a threat. Did people feel like they couldn't say no based upon the power differential?
Lionel Legal is the guy channel. Subscribe to Lionel Legal, guys. He's bringing a fire. He's bringing the heat. This should not have been a RICO racketeering case. That's all I've been saying. Screw Diddy himself, but this sets a horrible precedent.
Threat. Did people feel like they couldn't say no based upon the power differential? Did the prosecution prove intent to exploit? There was seduction, to be sure, but not sex trafficking. This is what is critical. And as far as transportation for prostitution, the white slavery statute, the Mann Act violation, Again, act or definition. No one was trafficked across state lines for prostitution. There was a private relationship, not a pimping. This wasn't assignation and all these other great common law crimes. You have to look at the definition of prostitution. Was sex offered for money, or was it part of a consensual, romantic, celebrity lifestyle? No. This is the most important thing in the world. Did the alleged victims, did they choose to travel for parties and events and relationships? Were they told to perform for pay? The prosecution has got to prove that Diddy intended to have someone cross state lines for illegal sex work. Period. End of discussion. And proving that beyond a reasonable doubt and beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt within a degree of moral certainty is very tough, to say the least. They travel for this is a defense spectacle. I have no earthly idea what motivated the Biden administration to involve themselves in this. I have no earthly idea whatever motivated them in the least to even pursue this. What were they thinking? What was the purpose of this? What? No one knows. No one can figure this thing out. Nobody can. I can't. I'm wondering why. What was the purpose of this? Why did you do this? What were you trying to accomplish? Why?
This is, I gotta subscribe to my guy channel right there, man. He bringing it. That's a legal expert right there. You know, and like I said, I've had those ideas, me not being a legal expert, and to see him say this as a legal expert, as a lawyer, whatever, practice law he does. I mean, hey.
Why? What was the purpose of this? Why did you do this? What were you trying to accomplish? Why? What was the point? We don't know. This happens all the time. This was Hugh Hefner, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin. This has been going on. They do football games, and I've asked this question. There's about 2,000 to 3,000 maybe total professional athletes in baseball, football, basketball in the United States, and of that group, of those folks, of that team, of that group, there are probably more independent groups negotiating parties and passels and hordes and orgies of women that you can imagine all the time. It's been going on since day one, and that's not right. It's immoral, fine, but it's not federal, and it's not. And if there is a God, he must be acquitted, because we cannot live in a system that would allow somebody to be, in essence, violated, to be, what am I trying to say, to be charged with this, to be prosecuted, merely because we don't like his sexual activities. Federal trafficking, think children, think people padlocked in trailers and tractor trailers and brought and transported and flown, and oh my God. He must be acquitted. If that jury is even 10% efficient, they've got to throw this out. And if by some stretch of the imagination he's found guilty of this, then they'll get him on appeal. They'll reverse it on appeal. This is horrible.
Brilliant by Lionel Legal. Subscribe to Lionel Legal's channel. I'm going to drop his channel link again right now. Please subscribe to his channel. Brilliant observation. I agree. Now, they're not going to throw it out because you're not going to get all 12 jurors to say not guilty. You're just not. And you're not going to get all 12 jurors to say guilty on these charges. So I suspect a hung jury on most of the charges, guys. Hit the like button. It was for the judge. See, the judge is the real legal mind. When they asked for the mistrial about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, that was the time for the judge to throw it out, but he didn't. So it is what it is. So it's in the hands of the jury. It will be in the hands of the jury unless they last minute do a plea deal, because that's still on the table. A last minute plea deal before the verdict. That's always possible. That might surprise us tomorrow. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, guys. That was Lionel Legal. Let me see. No, it's not that. Oh boy, oh boy. See, oh boy, oh boy. It's not about this. And I put this up here because I've been saying if he was charged for beating Cassie, I would say guilty. We are not trying to set precedents over here. Obey. So the reason, oh boy, the way you're thinking, you're a Fed. You'll get everybody locked up because you just go along to get along with whatever the Feds throw at you because you don't like the guy. You can't think like that because you could find yourself in the same situation. And I would say, you know what? Let oh boy go too in this situation, even if you beat up somebody, because I'm like, charge you properly, charge you with the state charge of assaulting. Now, if they do miss the statute of limitation, well, it is what it is. You missed the statute of limitation. That's the law. You want to follow the law, right? Or you want to charge them, you want to find them guilty for RICO racketeering when it's not RICO racketeering, just to make up for missing the statute of limitation of the assault. That's what we're doing, a makeup charge. So that's how you want to do this. That's how you want to play the game. That's not good for America. Sorry. You see, I smack down y'all guys nonsense when y'all say stuff like this. So I done told you a million times, but you probably didn't hear me. I said, well, if I was in a jury on a Diddy assault case, I would find him guilty. And like I said, Diddy's lawyer himself said if this was an assault case, Diddy would have pled guilty. There's no denying that video. So when y'all make these arguments, it's like, it's ridiculous. Now sub up to legal, Lionel Legal. Let me put his link down there. Right there. I seen that. I was like, wow, this guy is spitting. This guy is spitting. Woo! Right there. Woo! Right there, Lionel Legal. Subscribe to this channel, man. Get the lights up on this stream. Will Diddy be final roll call? Will Diddy be found guilty? Because it's not just one charge, right? Will he be found guilty on all the charges? Without a reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, you got to have 12 jurors say guilty or not guilty. Will he be found guilty in all of the charges? Will he be found not guilty? You also need all 12 to find not guilty. A hung jury would happen if only one says not guilty on either of the 5 charges, right? I believe there's sex trafficking, which carries a minimum of 15 years to life. There's the 2 counts of the Mann Act for the 2 prostitutes, whatever, which goes up to 10 years. There's conspiracy, racketeering, which I believe was the minimum of 10 years. Because there was 2 counts of the sex trafficking. They saying he trafficked Jane and he trafficked Cassie, right? So I think we got 2 Mann Acts, 2 sex trafficking, and 1 racketeering. They're gonna have to find 12 jurors to say guilty on all of those. And for the life of me, I don't see it. I do not see it. I see a bunch of hung jury verdicts with a lot of these charges, and whatever happens, in the case of a hung jury, what happened is they can retry the case. Diddy would stay in jail unless they give him a provisional bail. They say, all right, we'll just give you the bail now, and they want to retry the case. They can strike a plea deal. They can strike a plea deal, or the feds can say, you know what, we spent enough money on this. They can just drop the charges. My personal prediction, drum roll, I don't know, says Desmond. Diddy has a better chance to walk than Carmelo Anthony, says the Autowell. Oh, you think so, Autowell? I would have never thought that in the beginning, though, when he first was arrested, though. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. See, I can feel more comfortable to talk about this, about Diddy, you know, because, like, well, we were lied to. We were over-exaggerated, too. There was no underage kids involved. There was no druggings involved. Because obviously the feds would have called those victims in. He wasn't charged with that stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. The media trick y'all. Yeah. We were gaslit. We kept hearing about gaslit. The American public was gaslit when he was first arrested. You know what I'm saying? All these lawsuits, people trying to get money is like, when does it end? Like I said, Jay-Z was hit with the lawsuit, him and Diddy. And I reported it, and then I started defending Jay-Z. People are like, oh, how can you defend Jay-Z? He's a monster and this and that. I'm like, wait a minute. This lady is lying. She got caught on national TV lying. Her own father was like, she was confused and basically lying. So, like, then she dropped a lawsuit. And that was an underage girl. So if she was telling the truth, why did she drop the lawsuit? And why did Tony Busby drop the lawsuit for her? And why didn't the feds, if the feds thought that she was telling the truth, why didn't they subpoena her to come testify to bury Diddy? Because she said Jay-Z and Diddy did that. She had her dates wrong too. She had her whole years wrong. So all these lawsuits nonsense, if I didn't see it happen inside this criminal trial where it's the time to bury Diddy, it didn't happen. And those are just money grabs. It is what it is. So, because this was the time for the feds to bring in all those victims, or at least one or two of them, the underage minors, to really bury him in the court of public opinion. I would still say you need proof, because a person testifying is still like, especially if they got a lawsuit involved, they're like, well, if Diddy gets convicted, it'll help their lawsuit. They could get 10, 15 million, you know what I'm saying? So I still just want to see, like, this, man, you got to have evidence. But anyway, we will be back. Yeah, I know criminal charges are different than civil. If they wanted to charge him with something, the assault is not civil. No way, not guilty. There's doubt. Yeah, Shawnee Brown. Diddy pissed off the Democrats, talking about creating a black political party. Y'all don't remember that? Well, you know, like I said, man, they went after him for some reason. You know, they really forced this. Now, I know the lead prosecutor, he quit before because Trump won office. So he knew he was going to get fired anyway. So he quit. So really, it was a Democrat thing. The lead prosecutor quit in New York State because he knew he was going to get fired by Trump. Trump was coming in. He was going to, fire him anyway. So this, like I said, this is a copy and paste type thing. Like I said, I don't think Diddy is a good guy. But I said, charge the man properly, and I will be all for it. And you got to have evidence. For anybody, that's anybody in America, has some damn evidence, and I'll be more than willing to support. But hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will be back live later on today, or like tomorrow for some people, but today in the East Coast. And it's Judgment Day. Judgment Day. We'll see if a verdict is read today. I will be live at the Diddy courthouse if there is a verdict read. Salute to everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Salute.